If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Streamed and Screened, an entertainment podcast about movies and TV from Lee Enterprises. I'm Terry Lipschutz, managing editor of the National Newsroom at Lee and co-host of the program with Bruce Miller, editor of the Sioux City Journal and a longtime entertainment reporter. Bruce, it's some scary times. You got some scary movies.
Can I tell you, I was freaked when I heard that this new one is set in Italy, and it was like Trouble in Italy. I'm going there. I've already paid money on the trip. It's this fall, and okay. I thought, oh, what is this like? Are they going to be like really mean to you? Are people killing people in the streets? What's going on? And it turns out it's a comedy. It's called I Don't Understand You. It's about a couple. Two guys go to Italy for their 10th anniversary, and they're in the process of adopting a child. Okay, so there are all those kind of things swirling around there. But they get to Italy, and somebody says to them, why don't you go to this great place to eat because they make the best Italian food? It's raining. They get stuck in a ditch, and they can't get out, and this old guy takes them in and brings them to the house where a lot of things could happen. And it's based on the director's own experiences. They did this trip for their anniversary, and they got stuck. But then they said, we sat there and we didn't understand a thing these people were saying to us, but we just nodded and drank wine and enjoyed the evening, and then thought, what if this were the start of a movie? Could this be something more? Okay. And so then they were able to take that concept and then just go from there. They hired Nick Kroll, and you know him from a number of shows, Andrew Rannells to play the two guys. And they were perfect for their roles because they thought about who could we get that would be just as good. And they couldn't think of anybody else. And even them playing the roles weren't the right ones. But it's amazing how misunderstandings can lead to a lot of criminal activity. But it's not what you think. And when it winds up, you go, oh, wait a minute. This is one of those ones you must stay after the credits. Do not let the credits roll without knowing what happens to the characters.
Okay.
But I had a chance to talk to the people involved, and here are the directors, if you will, David Joseph Craig and Brian Crano. When does a good story that you tell friends at a party become an idea for a film?
Right away.
Yeah, right away. And we told the first act of the movie sort of happened to us. We told a friend about it, and he was like, you better write that right now or I'm going to. And we're like, all right, we'll do it.
And then is it difficult to say, where are we going to take this? Or do you just kind of fantasize a lot?
We kind of knew where we wanted it to go at the end. We sort of write from a place of having a first act and then just seeing where we go with it and what's the worst that can happen and how do we get out of that worstness. And it just keeps going further and further down a rabbit hole. And then sometimes edit ourselves.
Yeah.
So who gets the upper hand when you're directing? Who says, no?
There's no upper hand. I mean, I think the great part about working together and having been together so long as humans is like our taste is pretty similar. And if somebody has a great idea, you just go like, yeah, go for it. Let's see what happens.
Okay, then how do you decide who's going to play your roles, basically?
Well, that was interesting. I mean, I think that the best thing is you just like look for the funniest, most charming people, and then you assume that that's what you're like, you know?
And were they the right choices or not?
Yeah. Hands down. I don't think we could have. I truly I'll recast it in my head every once in a while and be like, there's nothing that tops it with that. And we got them. They love each other as humans, and they have worked together for a very long time. And so them being on screen for 98% of the movie together is ideal.
how do you get somebody to say, okay, yeah, let's shoot this in Italy. Let's do that.
Shooting a movie in Italy.
Yeah, it was pretty easy. You'd be surprised. Yeah, no, I mean, it was a wonderful experience working there, and you get to live there, but you're thinking like, oh, it'll be great. We'll go to all these museums. It's like none of that happens. You're just working constantly. The people are really lovely, and the food was great. So
You eat well. That's the good part of it. How will they receive this? Will they say, oh my God, they're attacking us? Or will they?
Oh no, they thought the movie was so funny because it was about Americans who are in over their head, which they really appreciated.
Did you ever think of not having subtitles?
Yeah, actually.
There are a couple times in the movie in which we realized in the edit that we needed to like figure out how and when to use the subtitles and not to use them to enhance the joke. And so, yeah, we definitely had the thought of maybe not using them in certain elements, but I think they're additive where they are.
Yeah.
So now when you're like out and doing things, do you say, that's a movie, I think that's one we could use?
Constantly.
I think as filmmakers, that's probably something that happens all the time is you're always like, oh, that's the beginning of a movie.
You're harvesting lines, you're harvesting characters, everything that goes in.
Our notes app is full of just one-liners that we'll look back on it and be like, where did we hear that?
Yeah.
Everything is material, right?
Totally. Yeah.
How old is your child?
5 now, yeah.
He's the little boy at the end of the movie.
Oh, he does get in it?
Yeah, he's the product of the adoption.
Yeah.
So what does he think of being in the movie?
He got to see it at South by Southwest. Not the whole movie, but we brought him in at the end to watch himself on the giant screen, and he just pointed at the screen and goes, "Look at me!"
Yeah.
I think you've created a monster.
We unfortunately have.
He got asked to do a school play, and he's like, "Just movies."
Please, I mess with that, right? Have you already started thinking about what the next thing will be, or is this too much that it just we have to break after this?
No. We're deep into a bunch of projects. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
And working together, that'll always happen.
Oh, yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
and you get to be together, which is the hardest part about both being in this industry is usually you work on different sets at different times and you never get to see each other or never get to see, the other one succeeding. And the best part of this was like getting to watch him direct and succeed, at arm's length. So it was a great process.
Well, good luck with this. It's a fun film. And I don't know if I dare go to Italy because I don't want to kill anybody.
Yeah, well, I think you'd get away with it, Bruce.
You think I could? Okay.
Just bring that Oscar behind you, and nobody'll mess with you.
A Lego Oscar is always good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
If you work as a manufacturing facilities engineer, installing a new piece of equipment can be as complex as the machinery itself. From prep work to alignment and testing, it's your team's job to put it all together. That's why it's good to have Grainger on your side. With industrial-grade products and next-day delivery, Grainger helps ensure you have everything you need close at hand through every step of the installation. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, Bruce, thanks for that interview. It's kind of an interesting situation too, because, there's lots of couples in Hollywood, but you don't always get to work with your partner. So, this is a great opportunity for the two of them to work together and put out something that they were passionate about. So that's kind of fun.
Usually they're on different timetables. If one's working on one project, it doesn't shoot at the same time. So, take your chances. But they really like working together, and I think they'll do more of it because they both wrote the script and directed the film. Okay. And I think it'll have legs. I think it'll be one of those ones that we'll see some activity out of it. Oddly, Andrew Rannells, who you probably know from Book of Mormon and a number of other Broadway shows, is from Omaha, which isn't far from Sioux City. And when he heard Sioux City that I was from, he started going into his Omaha thing. And so he reminisces a bit about his days when he was a kid in Omaha, coming up to Sioux City to shoot commercials. And he also has written 2 books of his own. And I said, yeah, I think you've got to turn these into movies. They are really, really funny. He has one where he talks about working at a summer theater and how everybody who was in the cast was not the right ethnic type, but that didn't matter to the people who were doing the shows. We're doing The King and I. You're all going to be, whatever. But so here's a chance for you to hear a little bit with Nick Kroll and Andrew Rannells. They're good friends in real life. They both work together on Big Mouth, which is Kroll's series. And Kroll is directing and producing and writing a lot of things. I mean, more so than anybody. And I did have to ask him about, was it hard not wanting to get your hands on this show and direct it or offer some helpful advice? So here are Nick Kroll and Andrew Rannells.
Bruce Miller from the Sioux City Journal. Nick, what is it? Yeah, near Omaha. We're near you.
That's right.
Nick, what is it like not to be in charge?
Oh, in this interview or?
No.
Let's talk. No,
Bruce is the captain.
Yeah, I feel very much like Bruce is the captain of this interview. I like that you're like, we'll get to
you, Omaha.
Get to you. Let's get this out of the way. It's so nice not being in charge. And we made this movie. Andrew and I signed on early as to act in it. And David Craig and Brian Crano, who directed the movie, wrote it as well. And they had such a clear vision for what it was and what it could be. But they were also so collaborative with us about feedback throughout, working on it. We worked on early versions of what became the opening scene of the movie all together, and found that audition video as like a way to sort of sell the movie. And they just were great to collaborate with the whole time. But it was also nice to finish shooting and go home and not have to be worried about the location or anything like that.
So you don't say, may I make a suggestion here? Or
I say that all the time in not so nice terms. I am a nightmare to work with on set. And even when I'm not the boss, I then do weird stuff that sort of makes you have to deal with me as like a child.
He liked to give me line readings, but also face readings.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like, what are you doing with your face?
Yeah.
You should do like more like,
okay. Yeah.
And he would really guide me.
Mm-hmm.
Always helpful, isn't that?
Yeah.
That's always a good thing. Andrew, why haven't you turned some of your stories from your books into movies? There are ones in there that I just hoot at. They're so funny.
Well, that's very nice.
And I think you need to do that. But is that not a suggestion or an idea?
No. I did get to adapt one essay for the series of Modern Love that they did on.
But they didn't base the whole show on her.
It was on one essay. It was just one essay. So I did get to do that one, but that's very encouraging. Maybe I'll take a crack.
What about your I guess I'm more curious about your commercial in Sioux City, Iowa.
I was telling Nick,
You did a commercial here?
I did. I believe it was for the Goodwill. It would have been around like 1996. I used to drive into Sioux City to do like voiceover stuff and like some like commercial, like local commercials.
Well, you should come more often. When you have a free day, come on over.
Well,
Right.
I'll learn some songs from Newsies and we can have a little sing along.
There you go. When you did the new normal, that had a very similar theme to this. Did that, did you say, what do I deal with this or how do I handle this?
This is the first time I'm hearing.
That show was about a gay couple who was having a baby through surrogacy. And although we did not murder anyone on that show, although I could have murdered Justin Bartha on any given day, I would have done that. But yes.
He was the guy who tried to get him to Bartha on The Hangover. They cut Rannells' part out of it where he tries to murder Bartha in Vegas.
Yeah, I was in The Hangover and my whole thing was like, who cares? Just leave him. We don't need to look for that guy. But they cut me out.
Ultimately, they realized they didn't need that kind of point of view in this.
And now you just killed him on screen. That's how you do it.
Yeah, now we go to town. We get to work.
Hey, you guys, thank you so much. They tell me I have to wrap, but I'm counting on you coming to Sioux City. And Nick, you could come with too,
I would love to. And if we could all get together and rap together, music.
Face readings. I got face readings, right?
Very good at it.
I love doing face rap. So many thoughts.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, Bruce, thanks for that interview. It has me wondering a little bit if I might be related to Nick Kroll. Did you
What?
know I'm a Kroll?
What?
Yes, my mom is a Kroll. It's that's my mom's maiden name, and so my whole family are Krolls, but I obviously my last name is my dad's last name, so
You
people
could be
don't know
doing
that.
voiceovers in
should be.
series, right? Wouldn't you could be in Big Mouth? I'd hire you.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. And it's it's a very common last name. It's really weird. Like my actual last name, my paternal last name is the spelling of it is very uncommon. If you find somebody with my spelling of the last name, it's most likely a relative of mine. But yeah, Kroll, I mean, there's tons of them. So who knows? Maybe I can just hit
Well,
him up and do like, hey, cuz, maybe
are you
me up a
from the
little bit.
billionaire Krolls? Because he's part of the billionaire Krolls. So
Sure I am.
yeah,
I must be part of that and
you remember
do
long lost Terry?
something. Right. He's my like 12th cousin 19 times removed,
Removed.
probably. Exactly. I know. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but up in Green Bay near Lambeau Field, there's a very famous burger joint called Kroll's, and it's where people go to before games. They serve up these butter burgers. The food is pretty good. It's good bar food. It might be a little overrated. It's a bit overpriced, but it's like the experience. Like you go to Lambeau, you got to go to Kroll's, and
Did you drop the name? Did you say that you're
I
related?
tried to, but they didn't seem to buy it. I don't
Oh,
think. Yeah.
darn. A burger is worth it. I would say everything I
know.
needed to get the right,
Exactly.
right?
That is the problem, though. I unless I whip out my birth certificate with my mom's maiden name on it or something that has my mom's like maiden name on it, you would just never know.
You
So
got to work on that. You get that
I do.
ID going, and then you can
Yeah.
show them anywhere you go.
Yep, exactly. So there you go. Maybe Nick and I are long lost cousins.
I think it's there. But
I
this is one
do
you
too.
want to look at. It's called I Don't Understand You. It starts this week, and it'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
I also can I call your attention to something for next week?
Absolutely.
It's called The Life of Chuck, and it's
Oh.
based on a Stephen King short. Why does Stephen King have
Yeah.
all these short stories around there somewhere that turn into these really incredible movies? But it's one like that stars Tom Hiddleston as Chuck, and
Okay.
Chuck is it looks like he's retiring. It looks like they have signs up about him, and it kind of backtracks through his life and tells you all about what was Chuck all about and what are the moments that stand out in your life. And
Wow.
Mark Hamill plays his father at one point. So I love that. I love that movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. I'm calling it early.
Okay.
And when you see that on the screen somewhere, go see it, because it's going to be one of the big films, if not of summer, of the year.
Wow. And this is not a horror movie, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. There's a room that they kind of worry about, like, is there something going on up there, or what is this? But no, it starts with the end of Chuck's life and then backtracks. And you
Okay.
realize that there are moments in our life that define who we are. And if you look back in your own life, look at things that you say, I really remember that time. And it may not be something, stupendous. It may not be the birth of a child. It might not be a promotion you got at work. It might just be a day that you had a good time talking with somebody and you remember
Okay.
that moment. And
Interesting.
you'll find out what Chuck's big moment was. And it's unbelievable.
Okay. Wow. I'm looking forward to that. I did see either a trailer or read something about it, and it did have me intrigued about. Now the interesting thing here too. So I've never been a huge Stephen King fan, only because I'm not big into horror, right? So I'm
Right.
not a huge like horror person, but some of his storytelling, you almost wish like I wish he didn't delve so much into the horror stuff, because some of his just the dramas, like you think about another short story that was turned into a movie, Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, right?
And what a tremendous film that was. A Rob Reiner film, right? And all those young actors who went on to just really nice careers, and it's just one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, it's just really, he could really, for somebody who totally embraced like writing 1,500-page horror novels, like those things that are just massive books, but yeah, he's just a great storyteller.
What about Shawshank Redemption?
Shawshank Redemption.
There's another one that was from one of these short stories that he had done, and it's like always on. You always can find Shawshank somewhere, and it's one that people say, I really love that movie, and they don't always say that about Stephen King films. Right. They, don't necessarily. It doesn't live up to what they saw when they were reading the book, or it isn't quite what Stephen wanted it to be. Yeah. But these little short stories that turn into big films are, I think he'll be remembered more for that than some of the other things.
Yeah, because if you look at the success of his horror movies, they haven't done as well. Like, I think maybe the one that was kind of, and it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a true horror movie. It's more of just a real thriller, Misery, right? So there's one that one was another huge film. It did kind of cross sort of into horror, but I wouldn't put it in like the ghoulish. It's not a ghoulishly horror type of thing or supernatural. It's just more of like a bent person with a sledgehammer.
Hey, Mr. Man, right?
Right, exactly. Ugh. I need you to finish your book.
Yeah. But and I think because maybe they're not on the same wavelength as he was, it doesn't always translate as well as it should. Even when they try to remake them. Pet Sematary was something they've worked on how many times? And I don't think, I read the book and I had visions in my own mind of what it was going to be, and it didn't turn out that way on screen.
Yeah. I think the best thing to come out of Pet Sematary was the theme song by the Ramones.
There you go. Hey, you know what I was thinking, Tara? What we should do is we should have you pick a record of the week.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. That could be something that we could add in, because there could be a reason why we want to listen to something.
Okay, there you go. We'll think about that. That might be something. But that is, like, I did, not to go too far off, but tying into Pet Sematary. I was driving with my kids one time, and I just like popped on the Ramones Greatest Hits, and I'm like, you're going to learn about the Ramones. That is today's music lesson with Dad. We're gonna listen to the Ramones, and we learned a valuable lesson: is you don't want to get buried in a pet cemetery.
Right. Do you rebel at all? Do the kids say, "Oh God, we're not listening to this, Dad"? Sorry, no.
There's one station, so I have, like, I collect records. I have tons of CDs, but obviously when I'm in my car, I don't listen to physical media anymore because cars don't even have CD players. So I stream all my music, or I use Sirius XM. And they added one of those channels. If you have the satellite player in your car, you get most of the channels, but there's tons and tons of extra ones that you can get through your app. And one of the ones they added recently is called Dad Rock, and it plays the greatest collection of it's true dad rock. Like, it might be, you might get some Foo Fighters, and then you'll get, a little Paul Simon, and then it'll come back with some Pearl Jam, and then you'll get some Ramones, and then you get some Nirvana.
It's in your wheelhouse.
And then it'll all of a sudden kick you back to Steely Dan. So it's like, it's all over the place, which is perfect. And then in between every so many songs, they'll have a dad joke in it. Like,
hey, this is great for Father's Day, right?
It is. So, if you're a dad and you need something to listen to, check out Dad Rock. Like, they'll do, it's not a true, like, dad joke. It's more of, they'll have a saying or a joke, and then they tie it into, like, you're listening to Dad Rock. So it'll be, if you go into Chili, if you see your friend in Chili's and say, hey, they let you in here, you listen to Dad Rock. That's it.
That's
So
great.
yeah, it's good stuff like that. So yeah, so I had one of my daughters is just like, "Can you throw on Dad Rocks?" I was like, "Yes, you have passed the test. We're
What do you
listening."
want? That's the question. Now,
Right,
what do you want?
exactly.
What do I have
What
to
is
give
going
you?
on? What is it's going to cost me here? I know that. All
Well,
right.
June is a big month for us. It's coming up, and we're going to talk about Jaws at 50, right?
Jaws at 50.
This is the 50th anniversary of Jaws. It was released in 1975, and the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences Museum is doing a huge exhibit that's tied in with Jaws at 50. And of course, Bruce is there, so you can always see Bruce the shark.
Yep.
But they're going to have a lot of other little things too. But interesting, there's a documentary coming up on, I believe it's National Geographic, about Jaws at 50. And if you weren't around in those days, wait till you find out what it was like.
Okay. I'm interested in that now. Yeah, it opened up before I was born because we got to wait
I
until
was
the end
there
of this
for the
year.
opening. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and end of the year we'll be celebrating Terry at 50, but
Oh, great.
but that's 6 months from now, so we'll have to wait on that. But yeah, that it came out the summer. My mom would have been pregnant, I guess, about 3 months pregnant with me at the time it came out. So
You could have been Jaws.
it could have been, yeah. So maybe I was there and I just didn't know it at the time.
She probably went to the movie and that scared her and said, "No, we better go home.
No,
I can't.
we are not going there.
I am not having the baby early."
Yep, exactly. So there you go. So we'll come back and talk about that in a few weeks. We may have a little bit of a delay with our next episode because I'm going to be on vacation for a few days. So
Listening to Dad Rock, or what are you going to do?
No, I'm heading to Denver, Colorado to meet up with my brothers. We're going to watch some baseball. Because I'm a fan of the New York Mets. They are traveling to Denver to play the truly atrocious Colorado Rockies right now. They are on pace to becoming the worst baseball team of all time.
So you might have a win there for the Mets.
Might have several wins there. Yeah, the Mets just hosted the Rockies at home a week ago, last weekend, and swept them. So hoping to get 3 more W's this coming weekend.
I bet they're putting signs up right now that says the boys are back in town when you come.
Probably. There you go. So, all right. So I'll be there. It may delay us. So, just if we don't drop an episode at the normal time, that is why I am taking a little bit of a break, but we will be back again. We'll be talking Jaws, and tune in again soon for another episode of Streamed and Screened. I don't want to get buried in a pet cemetery. I don't want to live my life again.
If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.